Chapter 19, The Angelica Touch by Lindsay J. Sedgwick. 2 days later, Mum is still going on about the website. You'd think somebody had decided to build a penthouse suite for Saddam Hussein and 50 wild orangutans in polka dot bikinis on our roof. I keep my head down and try not to say anything. Chris is the same. Mum vetoed the Valentine's ball this morning. Oni, our new chef, arrives this afternoon, and since I'm not meant to be home from school yet, Mum ropes me into tidying up the kitchen before he arrives. I've never heard a walrus sigh, but if one were to sigh, I bet he would sound like Mum. I'm trying really hard not to react, but she has sighs that sneak under your skin and make you grumpy too. It's just a website, Mum. Why the fuss? This is hardly the most explosive thing I've ever said, from the way she turns and stares at me. You would think I'd asked her to build that penthouse suite or train the orangutans to serve breakfast. I pretend not to notice. I keep busy chopping parsnips for lunchtime wedges, as if all I have ever dreamt of doing for the past 14 years is fragmenting parsnips. Chris mutters something about doing an inventory of the stockroom and gives my arm a squeeze in passing, which earns him a dirty look from hers truly. She waits until he's left. Have you been talking to Kitty? I shake my hand. Well, I haven't. She didn't ask if I'd eavesdropped. She's your friend, Mum, and here's my big mistake. At least she's trying. Oops. Big, heavy, stomping oops. What do you mean, Angelica? Well, who was Dad, Mum? I mean, what did he do that made you so scared of trying again? You know who he was. I know some fairy tale about my father saying I looked angelic because I had wings, which is physically impossible, unless one of you was a swan. So it's not exactly a huge amount of useful genetic material, especially since it's a fun way to explain why one of my shoulder blades sticks out and hurts sometimes. Oh wait, yes, there's more. He was English. He had red hair, was a mega dancer and totally impulsive, and that since he died 14 years ago, you live like a hermit, dressed like a nun, and the most exciting outing you've had in the last few months you spent straightening my hair. Whose mouth is this? I never meant to say any of this. But now I'm worked up. I wish I wasn't. Which I have decided to get cut, by the way. I haven't. I like having long hair, mostly. It's as if a well of putrid water had fermented in the belly of my soul, and now it's spewing out in one massive purge. I don't know, maybe you made Mum up. Maybe you made Dad up. And that's why you can't fathom trying again. Nothing's going to come close to some fantasy made up after a one-night stand. Well, this is not going in the right direction. Maybe Grandma was right. You didn't know his name, so you made one up. We haven't seen Grandma since she said that. It is so not something I should ever say to Mum. And guess what? She slaps me across the face. She's never ever done anything like this before, and I know she regrets it quicker than anything, but I can't stop now. Well, I shout because I'm still as riled as her. It's not easy in this condition to stop yourself saying stuff you don't know you're going to say and that you will wish you could take back later. That solves everything. Really, really answered my questions. And I'm gone as fast as my little runners can take me. Angelica! There's a cry in her voice, but I haven't heard it yet. I won't really hear it until I've calmed down. Don't even know why I'm so angry, except maybe it's all the hard work I did to get this website going, and it was all for her, even if she doesn't know it. But of course she thinks it's rubbish. So what does that make me? Now she'll never meet anyone, and I'll end up just like her, single and lonely, and life passing me by until I'm too old to care. Probably won't even manage to have a child. Not that I want one. I mean, I want to travel the world and meet all sorts of people and do any number of jobs and mad things, but sometimes, somewhere, at the end, I'd like one. Not that it matters now. Might as well sign on at the local nunnery, some enclosed order based on a remote island where you have to lick the pigeon poo off rocks as a penance for being so stupid as to try and do something nice for someone. As for Dylan, he'll have to become a monk because his heart is broken and both our lives will be ruined forever. Way to go, Mum. I sit on the dolmen, firing pebbles at the standing man, stone. He was clearly as stubborn and unreasonable as Mum. The stones bounce off with tiny thuds, but it's less satisfying than I expected. See, I fancied swapping cards with Dylan on Valentine's Day. It's never going to happen now. With Chris's help, I was planning to carve him a rudimentary whale from driftwood that would remind us forever of the first fateful meaning behind Albert, the skydiving whale. None of which can happen until Mum starts dating. I climbed down to restock my artillery. There are many versions of the Stone Man story, but essentially, in Jonas's version, when he starts telling stories for the tourists, it all starts with a young girl. Beautiful, of course. Hair like the crest of a wave, tipped by a sunset. The man seduces her, goes on his travels, promising to return, and she dies of a broken heart. For a grumpy man and a grumpier bus driver, Jonas is an excellent storyteller. Tourists love him. I heard him tell tourists that Granuela was his ancestor once. They bought him drinks all night after that. In his version of the Stone Man myth, the man was shipwrecked, stoned and sullied by sirens, but still fights his way home. Only she's dead. His loved one, drowned in her own tears, probably. He stands grieving by her dolmen night and day until his heart turns to stone and he becomes a standing man who guards her grave forevermore. Alternatively, when Jonas is a little further into his cups, he claims that the woman was a mermaid and her lover stood here to try and catch sight of her again so that he could call her back to shore. Only he stood too long and calcified. Mermaids are mythical and myths are less scary than abandonment and death. Bet the truth is that he left kids like me and Grace all along his travels. Maybe he was really Usheen and 300 years old when he bothered to return on his white stallion. Either way, I hope she had moved on and said to him, no, sure, I only fancied you when I was young and foolish, but I'm fine now. I can manage on my own, but thank you for asking. If he did get turned to stone, I bet the minute he felt his heart calcifying, he said, this is foolish. She wouldn't want me to do this. I should go get myself a nice strong whiskey and a new wife. Careful, says Mum. You might come to life with all that deep emoting. How does she always know where to find me and what I'm thinking? I shrug. A mighty, unpeachy shrug. Pretty stupid to turn to stone just because someone died. You shouldn't judge other people's behaviour, she says, before you've had the experience. Yep. There it is. The old experience card she uses when she's stuck for an answer. But I have to admit, she says, I think you're right. Seems a pretty extreme reaction. Then grief is a strange creature. I'm back up in the dolmen, apologising mentally for bringing our emotional garbage to this sacred spot. I was thinking of taking the board out, she says. Surf looks high. Want to have a go? I shake my hand. Never in a million gazillion years. I don't get it, Mum. You risk your life on a ridiculous piece of wood that's neither a boat nor a raft, and you do this on the Atlantic Ocean, beside cliffs and whirlpools and huge whales. Yet you won't stick your nose out in case you meet someone who you actually like. How can I ever hope to have a proper relationship when you're not even capable of trying? Have you considered, she says, that I'm perfectly happy with my life as it is? A pigeon dive bombs a harvest mouse darting out from the hedgerow. Dad's dead, Mum. Let him go. To be continued.